All right. So first things first. Tell me about Bruce Pearl. Tell me about the man.
I guess the first thing that jumps out is I'm a father of 4. It's probably been my greatest accomplishment is having 4 wonderful children. My daughter Jackie is about 28, and she works for the Pilot Corporation. She sells diesel fuel to trucking companies. My son Stephen is here with me as an assistant, and I'm blessed to have him in my life and working with me every day. My daughter Leah was up at Cincinnati, and she was on the dance team up there, and she's going to try out later this month to see if she can make the Auburn dance team. And so it'll be kind of neat to have me over there coaching and her out there dancing. And my son Michael will be a freshman, and he's considering Tennessee and Auburn.
How about that? So building off of that, I'm sure you're familiar with the AU family. How can we call this a family affair? With you and your son being one of your assistants, with your daughter looking to dance here, can we?
Yeah, I mean, when I got off the plane, I had my family with me, including my assistant coach Tony Jones, and my son, and my wife, and my children. And I wasn't sure that this was the right time for me to get back into coaching because of my show cause not being finished. But when I started to look closely at Auburn and see what Auburn family was all about, I quickly felt like this was a great place and this would be a great fit.
Very good, very good. So building off of that, what was your reaction when you got the phone call from Jay Jacobs telling you, I want you to be my next basketball coach? What were your thoughts?
Well, he didn't call me and tell me he wanted me to be his next basketball coach. He called me and asked me where I was at. Like right then, like where I'm at, like right now, I'm in the bathroom. No, but I was up at ESPN, and he said, I'd like to come talk to you about our coaching position. And I said, okay, I'd like to listen to you. And we met for about 4 hours the first night, and we had to work through several things, including the fact that I had shifted gears and I was working for ESPN. I didn't expect the call to come, but I was excited about it. And then the next morning we met, and having slept on it a little bit, tried it on a little bit more, I did want to hear more. But I needed to go home after working at ESPN that weekend, and I couldn't go home till Monday because I was working all weekend, to talk to my family. I walked in the house Monday afternoon. Brandy was there, the kids were there. 10 minutes, and I called Jay and I said, I want to talk some more. And that night he flew to Knoxville, landed about an hour and a half away, so we didn't see nobody could see the plane at the Knoxville airport. And he came over that night. We had some pizza, and we got the contract ironed out.
Very good, very good. Now you were talking about ESPN. Mm-hmm. How has your time away from the game, working at ESPN, been beneficial to you? Because, a little personal side, I'm from Baltimore. Right. I live and die with the Orioles. A couple years ago, we hired Buck Showalter, who at the time was working with ESPN, and he has said constantly, being able to step away from the game, dissect it and see it from the other side has been immensely beneficial. How has that been for you?
I don't know that I looked at the game the same way Buck did, in the sense that he looked at it and he maybe thought about going back right away. I was out 3 years. So first couple of years, I wasn't looking at it like I'm coming right back. But looking at the basketball, the defenses have gotten better. It's harder to score in half court, and everybody runs the same offense. And I just don't want to be like everybody else. So we're going to continue to try to be different and have a different style. And I'm more and more convinced that that's the way I need to coach, having been out and watching everybody else run the same stuff.
Okay. Now, what are your expectations for year one and down the road?
Well, my expectations for year one is that we're just going to build a foundation. We're going to have a successful program here at Auburn. We are going to be relevant to the world of college basketball. I don't know how long it's going to take me. A lot's going to depend on how hard this group works and how cohesive we can be, how quickly they'll adapt to the way we want to play and train. But we're not going to play just the way to just get another win or two out of this group. We're going to play the way we want to play for the future. And then we're going to recruit that way, and then we're going to hire a coaching staff that way. And so I think the pieces are there. We need to add some pieces to help KT and Malcolm have good, memorable senior years where they can feel good about their career. And I want our seniors to be able to look back and go, we were part of that. We were part of the beginning when you could see some signs that this program had life.
Okay. Why should players want to come and play for you? Now that you're back in the game and guys coming out of high school.
Because I will let them play. And I will push them harder than they've ever been pushed before, and they will never have to do it by themselves. I'll see things in them they don't see in themselves. I'll give them confidence. I'll give them encouragement. I'll give them love. I'll give them support. And my foot will be halfway up their butt the entire time that they're here. I'll give them discipline, and I'll make them be accountable. I'll reward them when they live up to those standards, and I will hold things back from them when they don't deserve them.
Right. A lot of athletes and coaches have pregame rituals, superstitions. How are your final moments before walking out of the tunnel onto the court? How are those moments spent?
Great question. I don't think I've been asked that question ever. I pray. I get to a spot in the locker room by myself, and I usually do it after I dress the team. So about 20, 25 minutes before I have to go out. And I just talk with God. It's never about winning or losing. In fact, I make sure that is never part of the discussion. It's just to spend some quiet time. I may ask him to give the players some courage to protect the players on both teams. I guess the rest of it will just have to be between me and God.
Okay. How big is God in your life with basketball and just life in general?
Everything. I wake up every morning and I ask him to forgive me for how I'm going to fail him that day, and I just ask him to find ways to guide me and help me serve him. And so my faith is so really, really strong. And this, like anything, I tell my kids this. I said, you could be mad at me, you could be happy with me, you can love me. I just want you can have some kind of a feeling about me. Don't ignore me. That's the biggest thing a father doesn't ever want for their children, is if life goes on and you don't even think of them because you're so busy doing what you're doing in college and you're with your friends and your career, and you forget about your parents. And that's the thing I just encourage my athletes, or I encourage myself to do, is don't ignore my father.
Okay. Building off of the relationship with your players and your family, how tight is the bond between you and your players? Do you consider them part of your family from day one? Do they have to earn it? What is that
Again,
like?
It's good. Family you don't have to earn being part of the family. It affects the way you're treated. I treat people fairly. I don't treat them the same, but they don't have to earn being part of my family. They are. And it is for better or worse. And it's how we coach. Players don't care how much I know till they know how much I care. So I've got to spend the time with them to show that I do care. Like, one of the things that we'll be doing the night of the Final Four is most of the coaches will still be in Dallas at the championship game. I will come home Sunday, and we'll be training on Monday. And then what I'm going to work on Monday night is just trying to get together an occasional meal. I don't have a home yet here in Auburn, but we'll figure someplace we can go and maybe watch the championship game as a team and eat and just spend time together. In other words, if I want to watch a championship game, I want to watch it with my players and with my coaches, and I want them to go, God, Coach could be anywhere watching this game. In fact, he could be back down at the convention doing TV or doing something else, but instead he chose to come and hang out with us.
Is that a little bit of hidden motivation for your players?
Absolutely. I mean, that's part of the method. It's self-serving, but it's important because you don't always have that opportunity to send that message to the players.
Right. When you walk out of that tunnel and you step onto this court, what thoughts run through your head when you walk out of here and you're back in the game that you love so much? What goes through your mind?
Well, I think initially just the responsibility. Auburn's invested a great deal in my coming to this campus, and I've got a lot to live up to. And so I'll have a good, healthy fear of failure, but I'll also feel a great responsibility to try to give the fans some hope. And I think they'll like how we're going to try to play. I think they'll be patient. They've been patient for all these years. I don't think they'll stop being patient now. But they need to see signs. And whether it be, first things first, what's the difference between KT and this year and last year? How has Taj improved? Or Malcolm, or Jordan, or Matt, any of those guys. And if they can see a difference in how those guys are playing compared to what they played the year before, then they will have known we made progress. And I think they'll be excited about that.
Right. I noticed you spend a lot of time with students. Mm-hmm. It was obvious when you got off the plane and you joined that mosh pit.
Right.
And a lot of coaches in the game distance themselves away from students. How important is it for you to maintain that good rapport with the students?
You know what your tuition is? It's not cheap. Okay? It's not cheap. And I'm a teacher here at Auburn University, and we're here to service you. We're here to serve you. You may be interviewing me as head coach at Auburn University. I work for you. And so whether it comes to opening up our program for managers, people who want to be coaches, or people that want to do television and the video department, analytics, statistics, marketing, I want the students to use this as a work study. And then the second thing is, I love to go into the classroom. I want to talk in a marketing class. I want to talk in an ethics class about some of the challenges that I faced. I want to share. I'm here in this campus as a role model in some ways, and that's a lot to live up to. But I don't want to shy away from that. And so I'll eat lunch on campus. I'll try not to just eat in my lunch in my office every day, which will be a little bit more convenient. I might get a little bit more work done, maybe 5 more minutes of tape. But I'd rather walk someplace on campus and sit down with a couple of students and just see how they're doing, or maybe talk about the football game, or are they going to the softball game tonight, or what they're doing. Just be accessible. They see me on television, they see me in different places, and so I'll look forward to being a part of the Auburn community and the Auburn family.
That is very appreciated to have someone of your stature here who is just so accessible. You don't see that every day.
I don't understand why, but
I don't either, but it's very much appreciated. A lot of players loved Coach Barbee. How do you plan to transition? How do you plan to make that transition very smooth for them?
Right. First of all, you respect what Coach Barbee did and the relationships that he had and the program that he built. And so I've got to be careful with what I say, because in my enthusiasm about what we're going to do in the future, I don't want that in any way to be a negative reflection on what's happened in the past. That's almost impossible to do, but I will be sensitive to it. With the players, we'll talk very little about whatever did or didn't happen in the past. So again, as not to have them feel sensitive in any way, or feel like there's any criticism in any way of anything that may not have lived up to any kind of an expectation. We'll start fresh, we'll start new. And so, great respect for Coach Barbee and his coaching staff. I had to move on from Tennessee, and a new coaching staff came in that was their team, no longer my team. This is now my basketball team.
All right, let's see. I'm sure you're familiar with Gus Malzahn and his sweater vest. Can we expect to see an orange blazer on the sidelines this upcoming season?
I think what I'll do is I'll look back at Cliff or Sonny or some of the other great coaches in Auburn basketball history, and maybe we'll pull something out that will remind people of the great history and tradition of Auburn basketball. And we'll have to see what that is. But there will definitely be, you'll see more pictures and you'll see more name recognition of some of the great coaches and great players who have played here. We will celebrate Auburn basketball's history as we continue to build on.
Do you plan to incorporate them in any of any of the activities with the players?
Yeah, I'll be sending some strong messages to all the former players that I'm now their coach, and this is still their program, and I need their support, and I want them to come home and continue to be proud of this, and hopefully we could do something that can make them proud.
Very good. You have a winning record everywhere that you've been. Do you feel that that's pressure coming into a new school? Do you look at that as motivation? How does that winning record drive and motivate you when you step on the court every night?
Winning is more fun than losing. I mean, it just is. It's more fun for the student athletes. It's more fun for everybody on campus. So I didn't come here to lose. I don't, somebody said to me, I've never had a losing season. I really, yeah, I guess you're right. But that's not my focus. My focus would be, I'm gonna do the best I can every day. I'll do the best I can with this group. People ask me at the end of the day, you lose a game, can you go to sleep? I said, like that, I'm exhausted. I may wake up early in the morning and think about, gosh, I wish we could have done this, I should have done that, I'll blame myself for this or that. But I'll put my head down every night and I'll be able to go to sleep. I'll give it the best I got.
Very good. When you're off the court, after a game, after a season, how do you maintain that fire and that drive that you're well known for?
Well, for me, I'm a little bit more of a morning person, so I will be in here about the time the sun comes up, and I'm happy to do that. I may catch a workout beforehand, because if I don't catch one in the morning, I'll never get one as the day progresses, things get too busy. It'll be a tremendous accomplishment if I can have success at 2 SEC programs. I care about SEC basketball. And for SEC basketball to be what it's capable of being, the middle and the lower half of the league have got to come up. And if I'm able to do that here at Auburn, that would be a dream. That would be something that I could really be excited about hanging my hat on and building a legacy. And that legacy matters to me. It just does. And so I got a lot of work to do, and I'd have to be here for a lot of years to be able to do it. But that's what my goal is. So that's what drives me every single day. I won't work any differently 4 years from now than I'm working in my first year.
How's it feel to be back in the game that you love so much? I know we briefly touched on it, but can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, I love working with players. I love putting the pieces together. I like taking dimensions. Every player's got something they do well. And rather than working on weaknesses, I like to work on strengths. I want to take a guy who's really good at something and make him great at it, and give him a go-to move or a go-to aspect. It may be shooting, it may be ball handling, getting to the foul line, it may be on the ball defense, blocking shots, something that he knows every night he can bring. We'll work on weaknesses, but we'll spend more time perfecting strengths. And then we'll put it all together. I like to teach from the whole and then break it down by part. I don't like to do a lot of tons of drill work and then put it all together. We're going to play basketball when we practice. I like to play up tempo. I like to put pressure on the defense. I like to get the ball down the floor. I like to throw it up at the rim. I like to have guys going fast and quick and athletic. We're going to make a lot of mistakes. It'll be sloppy. It'll be ugly sometimes, but it'll be intense. And I'm hoping that in addition to being intense, it'll be tough. I don't know how quick we can get tough. That might be something that I'll need to recruit a little bit of that. But I'm just looking forward to putting a brand on Auburn basketball.
What message do you have for the Auburn family? If you could tell them anything, what would that message be?
Well, first off, what can I do to serve? Where do I need to spend my time in the community where I can make a difference with children, with fighting cancer, with helping people with their causes? Because Auburn basketball is my cause, and I need their help. I can't do it without them. We've got to put people in here. We've got to give them something to watch. I got to get people to go on the road. We've got unbelievable alumni here in all of the SEC cities. I've got to get around to those SEC cities and ask our alums to come in. We got to have receptions before the games. I got to make myself accessible. They got to get to know us and our players, so on and so forth. So And then when we win, we have to celebrate it together. So my first message to the Auburn family is, what can I do for you? Call me, email me, write me. Let me know where I can serve, because I need your help.
Okay. One final question that I have. When that buzzer sounds, when you walk off that court, when you go in your office, at the end of the day, you've briefly touched on it, but what is your greatest satisfaction after every night you've coached a game?
I think the satisfaction of knowing that we competed against a very respected opponent. In defeat, I will want that opponent to recognize that they had their hands full. And in victory, I'll know that we beat somebody that's pretty accomplished and pretty good. And if I can go into my office at the end of the day with that satisfaction, we'll be okay.
And then one final question. Coach Galloway, the new baseball coach, he has instituted this new tradition in the dugout, 31 guys pulling on the same rope. Is there anything that you want to install here? Is there any new traditions that you would like to?
We will, but I'm going to ask you to stay tuned.
We can do that. I think we can do that. Well, Coach, I very much appreciate it.
Okay, good job.